All right, recently we talked about microphones, and then before that we talked about cameras. And since we talked about cameras, we've got to talk about lenses. What's the best lens for you to use? Specifically, this is going to be addressing people who took my advice and got a Sony camera, all right? Particularly a Sony crop sensor camera, not a full frame. You kind of overkill with full frame on YouTube. You could do it, it's a little bit of a benefit, but there's really a diminishing returns when it comes to value for what you spend. The crop sensors are the best way to go. Now this will work on this camera. This is the FX30 Gen 1. It will work on the Gen 2. It'll work on any of like the A6000s. And currently what you're looking at me now, which is an FX30 with the standard, what's considered the default YouTube lens, the Sigma 16 millimeters, what's called a prime lens. Prime lenses don't move. This is a zoom lens. All right, when you get excited, you can tell, right? So this is a zoom lens. Prime lenses just are what they are. And for quality of image and stuff, usually it's considered that prime lenses are the best. I'm not going to try to overwhelm you with a lot of jargon here, so we're going to try and make it as simple as possible. One of the things that people have to talk about is called the f-stop. Now that's just really how much light gets in. You know when you're inside the lens there and you twist it and you can see how the aperture gets big. Well, if I turn it the right way, there we go. The aperture gets bigger and smaller. I keep turning it the wrong way. I know, I'm terrible at this. Anyway, as that happens, that is changing how much light gets in, and that affects your f-stop. And it affects your exposure, but really what we're talking about here, because most of this stuff is done automatically and whatnot, is that it changes the way the background looks. You notice how the stuff in the background way back there is kind of blurry and such? That's called the bokeh effect. And that's what really separates you from the background and makes people pay attention to what's up front. And you still get the sense of the background. It's where your eyes naturally operate, which is why when you look at some pictures and everything's in focus, it feels like it's kind of a cheap picture. And then you look at something when stuff's out of focus and it looks better. Why? Because that's the way the brain thinks. Now, this camera is about 3 feet away from me. It's a very expensive camera. It's a $2,000 camera. The lens right now, you can get the lens used for $400-ish, new for a little bit more. They're phasing out this lens. They got a new one in, but I still think the older lens is the better lens to get. And I would recommend getting the older lens even if you get it used. I'll put links to everything down below if you want to take a look at it. Now, the first lens we're going to take a look at is its sister. There's 3 lenses in this category of Sigma primes. There's the 16 millimeter. I think the other one's a 35, and I think there's a 55. So the other one I have here is right over here on this camera. And this is about 5 feet away from me. It's the exact same camera with the exact same settings, the whole 9 yards. It looks a little bit better because all the red in the background kind of pops more on this. But same lighting, same everything. And it's rocking the 35 millimeter lens. And if you notice, the stuff behind me looks even more bokeh'd out. And that's because the further you put a camera away from you with the same f-stop, the dreamier the back is going to get. So you get more fuzzy and really make me stand out away from that background, which is really cool. Now, this lens is actually, I think it might actually be a little bit less expensive. I don't remember if it's a little bit more expensive, a little less expensive, but it's a good solid prime to use, and it's great to use in this AB setting. Now, this right here, I'm recording with my cell phone. That's the camera we're talking about. It's trying to focus on my hand. So that's the camera over there. And we come over here, and this is the camera right here that actually shows you, and it's behind, so you're going to lose a little bit of quality because it's behind a teleprompter. And then also on top of that, I run everything through OBS, which again is going to lose a little bit of quality as well. And I think honestly it's worth it. For ease of function, giving up 5-10% of quality is more than doable for me. And I'm going to show you, again, another way to even bring that quality up here through the magic of lighting, okay? So 16 millimeter here, 3 feet away, 35 millimeter over here, about 5 feet away. Now I got 2 other lenses to test. Now I don't have the Sigma 55 here, but I do have this is the Sigma Zoom, and it goes from 18 to 35. And let me just put on my eyeballs to make sure I'm telling the truth on this one. I just picked this one up. Yeah, and that's why I'm wrong. 18 to 50. The f-stop on this, though, is 2.8 across the board. So it stays at 2.8. It's not going to be as dreamy a focus as back there, but I can change the effect, and that might be worth, the difference on that. And then the other one we have, this is a very inexpensive zoom lens. This one goes from 50 to 210. This is by Sony, and don't get it. I know you think Sony is going to be great. This is a really entry-level beginner kind of lens. The f-stop on this one actually changes depending on how you use it, and it goes from 4.6 when you're at 55 to 6.3 when you're at 210. You can't control that. It's just going to change as it goes along. But we're going to show you the difference between both of these lenses. So we have all 4 lenses we're going to rotate. These are all going to go in the camera that's further away because you wouldn't want to use these lenses up close up here because it would be right here, be in my face. You wouldn't want to see that. All right, now this is that same camera that's 5 feet away. This is my B camera. But you notice there's something weird going on right here. It's actually picking up the edge of my monitor. I use a large screen TV monitor, and it's actually behind it. Normally it focuses past it, but it's sitting at 18 millimeter. So I could frame it, I could move it, I could bring it off to the side, or because this is a zoom, I can come in here. Perhaps I might have to cut. Let me see here. We're going to zoom it. Look at that. All right. Now I go back to where I was sitting before. How is that for a much more intimate interface? So what I can do is I can cut back to my main camera and I can use this for emphasis. I'm talking to you. No, really, actually, you know what? Come over here. Let me tell you something. Really what you want to hear is there's a lot of ways to use this effect. All right. It's good for drawing the viewer in for an intimate conversation to make them feel, not make them feel special, make them feel like, you know, you're really talking just to them. This is important information. I need to get this to you. We don't want those guys to hear, okay? We don't trust you. But you guys, you're cool, all right? So you're on the in club. But that's the thing I can do with that lens is now I can use it for 2 different settings. I gotta tell you, I really like being able to do this. Bring it in, come in, go back and forth. That's a pretty cool effect. Now, let's try it with the less expensive lens. See what you can get away with. All right, I got the less expensive lens set up. It's not going to be great. Here we go. Look at that. About the same effect. Now this is sitting at 55. The other one zoomed to 50. So it's almost the same kind of look. I can get away with the same thing. The problem here is how dark it is. And that's because of that f-stop. That aperture does not open as wide to let in as much light. So for me to do this, I have 2 options. Either A, I could bring in more light. And brother, I've got all my lights on. I'm not getting more light in here. There's a ton of light. So the only other thing I could do is I could change the settings on the camera, and that will work. It will brighten things up, but it's going to lose picture quality. So I'm not going to really do that. But let's see what happens when we really zoom. That's 210, and that's way too close. I am sitting in my chair, leaned back as far as I can. This is ridiculous. That's not going to work. But this one works fine. But let's go back and let's try the other one. I really like the other one. Now here's that other Sigma zoom at 35, okay? So we had the original lens. Let me grab the original lens here. And this is a prime, and I want to verify it's at 35. Nope, it's a 30. I believe it's a 30. I got to put glasses on and getting old. So that's a 30. So this isn't bad. This isn't bad right here. I'm going from this one, going over to this one. It's not bad. It's a little darker. Notice because it doesn't have from the prime effect that I get on this. The prime effect, I get that same 1.4 letting in more light. I'm losing some light with this. But let's give it a little bit more zoom. I want a little more tightness on it. Wrong way. Let's bring it in there. All right, that's pretty good. Not quite the full 50 we were at before. Let me get framed up. We'll get this all set up so you're going to understand this, all right? So now, that's pretty good. We got, look how blurry the background is. That's all falling away. The light's not terrible. I can put my hat up a little higher, let more light on my face. I've got a light right above it. It's pointing right at me. I might have to brighten that just up just a little. Take up what's called the ISO. Take it up a little higher, just make the lens, not the lens, the sensor more sensitive to light, okay? So I can go from this, which is really bright, to this, and I can color match that light, which I think I'm gonna have to do. But I do like the effect of being able to go talking to you here and then be like, you know, really, no, this is serious information. You need to listen to this. It really changes the effect and allows you to be a more dynamic speaker through the camera. All right, hold up. I said I'd do a trick with some lighting to show you the difference. And you've noticed the lighting's a little different, okay? So what I've got here is I've turned off all my overhead lighting. I've got some really terrible incandescent bulbs, not color matched, but I need them for the shop space because this is a combination studio shop. And then I have my regular lighting. All right, I should say my studio lighting. I have an A light, a B light. You're supposed to have a C light. I don't really do that. Of course, I've got Alexa turn on the hair light. Slower since they converted to the new AI version of She Who Shall Not Be Named. But that adds that in there as well. But I can turn off Alexa, turn off hair light. I have a lot of my stuff automated through her, and it really helps.
Okay.
There we go. And it gives you that more moody kind of lighting. Now, what about the other camera? I said I needed to change the ISO on it to bring up that color level. All I was doing is electronically changing the sensitivity of the sensor inside. Back in the day, you'd actually have to replace the film to what they call film that's faster, where it exposes faster and it gets you really grainy. You still get the grain somewhat, but this isn't a big change. And you can see the change now. Pretty good, right? So a lot more light coming in because we changed it. I can't change the aperture on the lens. The lens is the lens, but I can still change the ISO, and I bumped it up quite a bit. Normally you try to shoot at ISO 100. This is now shooting at ISO, it's either 400 or 500. So it's been bumped up quite a bit. But this is not my main camera, all right? I may lose a little bit from my main camera coming over to here. But this is my accent camera, my B camera, when I want to add emphasis and draw the viewer in to really relate. So you understand what I'm talking about. And you understand, because you guys are cool. These guys, not so much. You guys? All right. Anyway, so I've turned those lights out, and here I can also play with my lights. I run everything, by the way, through something called a Stream Deck, and I got different pages. So when I'm filming, I'm on my video page, and I can change all the lighting and stuff. So this is with all my lights on. That's with my lights off. We got my background, my Govee lights, little mood lighting going on back there. I can turn on one light, which gives me that effect. I can turn off that light, gives me a side light. Look at that. I can get really that kind of creepy, dark, talking about terrible things that are going to happen in the tool world and stuff like that. And I can bring both lights in for a well-rounded, balanced effect. I'll be honest, you got to figure out what works, what doesn't work for you. My audience on my main channel, they're tool guys. They're not really into that intimate kind of setting. They're like, your light's too low, it's too dark, we want more light. So I usually leave all the lights on to give it more of that kind of, non-artistic kind of look. I used to do photography a lot when I was younger. I played football, I wrestled, I played hockey, and I was chief photographer for the yearbook and newspaper. I did a lot. So I want to do stuff like this. I like doing the kind of moody kind of lighting, the accents, and getting all the right kind of stuff going. But if your audience doesn't appreciate it, your audience doesn't appreciate it. There you go. Again, links to everything are down below. If you like what we do, go ahead and chomp the old like button, smash the subscribe, ring the bell on the way out. You all take care. God bless. And as always, shine on.